15 craziest medieval buildings. Stay tuned to learn about some of the most impressive medieval structures around, including castles that were built nearly 1,000 years ago and a cathedral that, for centuries, was the world's tallest building. Number 15. Malbork Castle. Built by Teutonic Knights starting in the 1200s, this impressive castle is the largest in the world when measured by land area. When it was completed in 1406, it was the biggest brick castle ever constructed. In 1466, the castle and surrounding town of Marienburg became a part of Royal Prussia, and they would use it as a royal residence for years. World War II would cause massive damage to the castle. It was renovated by the Polish in the second half of the 20th century, and as recently as last year. It became one of Poland's official national historic monuments on September 16, 1994.
Number 14.
Sainte Chapelle. A view from the exterior of Sainte Chapelle in Paris, France is impressive, but it's the interior and the building's extensive collection of 13th century stained glass that steals the show. Consecrated on April 26, 1248, the chapel is built to house King Louis IX's collection of relics of Christ, including the crown of thorns, the image of Edessa, and 30 or so more items. Most of the relics were destroyed during the French Revolution, but those that did survive were moved to the Notre Cathedral, where they remain to this day.
Number 13.
Tantallon Castle. Overlooking the Firth of Forth in Scotland, the Tantallon Castle lies in a state of ruin today, though its spectacular surroundings make it an impressive sight nonetheless. William I, Earl of Douglas, erected the castle in the mid-14th century and passed it on to his illegitimate son George. Despite numerous attacks during which the castle was severely damaged, it remained in the same family for a large part of its history. Today the castle is an underrated tourist spot that's in the care of the Scottish government.
Number 12.
Zvolen Castle. Zvolen Castle has sat on the hill in the middle of Slovakia since the last third of the 14th century when it was constructed for Hungarian King Louis of Anjou. Unlike most castles of the era, Zvolen Castle was built to function as a comfortable place to live. At the time, it lay safely within the boundaries of Hungary, and things like strategy and defense were of minimal importance. The Ottoman threat forced the castle to be rebuilt with further fortifications in the first half of the 16th century, and as a result, the Turks were never able to conquer the castle or surrounding city. Today, the structure lies surrounded by train tracks and roads and contains exhibitions from the Slovak National Gallery.
Number 11.
Norwich Guildhall. Situated in the center of its surrounding medieval city, the Norwich Guildhall once served a role similar to a modern town hall. The administrative functions of Norwich, which at the time of the Guildhall's construction had become one of the wealthiest cities in England, were performed within the Guildhall's walls. It served as a court, tax collection center, and contained an assembly chamber for council meetings, as well as a sword room for storing weapons. Nowadays, the building is open for guided tours and represents the oldest medieval civic building in the United Kingdom outside of London.
Number 10.
Heddal Stave Church. Of the 28 stave churches left in Norway, Heddal is the largest and most impressive. It was constructed in the 13th century and, according to legend, was built in 3 days. The church was in dreadful shape by the 1850s, and during this time a restoration attempt was made. Apparently, these restorers didn't know what they were doing, forcing more competent people to make a successful restoration in the 1950s.
Number 9.
Ightham Mote. With few changes being made to Ightham Mote by its owners since its erection in the early 14th century, the building serves as the most complete small medieval manor house in the country, and a vitally important window into the past. Encompassed on all sides by a square moat, 3 bridges connect the home to the surrounding land. The structure's 70-plus rooms all surround a picturesque central courtyard. Charles Henry Robinson, an American soldier stationed in England during World War II, fell in love with the property and bought it, though he could only live there for 14 weeks out of the year. Robinson donated the building to the National Trust, who assumed responsibility for its care after he passed away in 1985.
Number 8.
Wells Cathedral. When the present Wells Cathedral was constructed sometime around 1175, it was the first cathedral to be built entirely using the new Gothic style that was brought from France. The first phase of building took around 8 decades to complete. 300 statues that were built during its original construction remain to this day. Architects and observers widely recognize the Wells Cathedral as one of the most beautiful of all the English cathedrals.
Number 7.
Guildhall of London. Perhaps the most impressive aspect of London's Guildhall is its breathtaking medieval Great Hall, which is regularly used for grand ceremonies. The building was undertaken in 1411 and completed in 1440. The Great Fire of London in 1666 didn't affect the Guildhall too much, though partial restoration from slight damage would be required.
Number 6.
Eltz Castle. Amazingly, this castle is still owned by a branch of the same family that lived there in the 1100s, a full 33 generations ago. The Eltz family. In 1268, the Eltz brothers had a dispute and the family split the castle in 3, with each sibling building their own fortified living quarters. These separate buildings coexisted for hundreds of years. Finally, in the early 1800s, the House of the Golden Lion had outlived the other families and was prosperous enough to unify the castle.
Number 5.
Mont St. Michael Abbey. Today, the medieval island community of Mont St. Michel has an epic abbey at its apex and is connected to France's coast via a single 2,500-foot highway and footbridge. It's one of the most popular tourist attractions in the country, and millions visit annually. In medieval times, the monastery protected the French from the invading English repeatedly during the 100 Years' War, and, thanks to state-of-the-art fortifications for its time, was never seized. After the French Revolution, the island became nothing more than a dilapidated prison, until prominent figures like author Victor Hugo launched a recovery campaign. Their efforts were rewarded when the prison closed in 1863, and again when Mont St. Michel was declared a historical monument in 1874. Restoration efforts have been ongoing for years and have made the island an extremely impressive, beautiful sight.
Number 4.
Lincoln Cathedral. One of the most impressive Gothic structures on the planet, Lincoln Cathedral lies in the town of Lincoln, England. Bishop Remigius started work on the cathedral in 1072. An earthquake would partially destroy the cathedral at 1124, leaving only the west front, which has been preserved to this day. When a replacement tower with a spire was added to the Lincoln Cathedral, it became the tallest building in the world and would hold this title for the next 238 years until the spire collapsed in 1549. It was never rebuilt.
Number 3.
Westminster Abbey. One of the most iconic buildings in the world, Westminster Abbey has been the setting of every royal coronation since the coronation of William the Conqueror in 1066. Has seen at least 16 royal weddings, and is the resting place of 17 English monarchs. King Henry III rebuilt the abbey starting in 1245 and chose it to be his burial site. Today, Westminster Abbey attracts over 1 million visitors every year.
Number 2.
Windsor Castle. Windsor Castle has served the British royal family for over 1,000 years, making it the oldest occupied castle in all of England. When constructed in the 11th century, it was simple and made of wood. King Henry I favored the castle and started a gradual reconstruction process that would turn Windsor Castle into one of the most expansive buildings in the Middle Ages. A humongous fire in 1992 destroyed large portions of the castle, but it was rebuilt into the magnificent specimen that it is today. Wow, Windsor Castle is absolutely massive. If you made it this far, then you're really into medieval buildings, which is great because so are we. Leave a cool comment and we may shout you out by name in our next video. And as always, thanks for watching.
Number 1.
Notre Dame. While Victor Hugo was busy saving Mont St. Michel Abbey from the destructive nature of time, he was also writing about another of the continent's most impressive medieval structures, Notre Dame. The cathedral lies in Paris and is widely considered the most impressive feat of French Gothic architecture ever erected. It's one of the most well-known churches on earth. The cathedral treasury contains a reliquary which houses some of the most valuable objects of Catholicism, including the crown of thorns and a portion of the true cross.